I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them knocks. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
Here I am. What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers and welcome to UFC Vegas 60 Best Bet. We have Cory, Sandhagen going against Yadong Song, and this is a very special Thursday edition of Best Bet, doing it earlier in the week because I will not be able to do it on Saturday. So if you're watching live, what is up? If you're watching on the replay, what is up? If you guys can please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. As always, we're going to go through these fights. We have 14 fights. We're going to give the best bet on each and every fight on the card. As always, there are only two rules. We are going to use current lines, and then also there is no passing on any of the fights. So it should be a fun card. I have a ton of action on this card. As of now, I think it's like the second most action I've had since I started tracking a few years ago. So I'm liking a lot of spots. I'm liking a lot of violence. If you are a fan of violence, you are absolutely going to love this card. If you're into betting overs, you're going to hate this card because I think we see a lot of fights end inside the distance. Should be a very, very fun one here. Let us shout out the chat before we get started. Say what's up. We got Gus in here. What is up, Gus? Buffo. We got Jordan. We got Rob. We got Andy Mush. We got G. Jay, what is up, guys? How are you doing? I say we get right into it here. We got I in the chat as well. All right. Let's start with the first fight of the night. And they did change this bout order around earlier, I think either yesterday or the day before. But hopefully this is the bout order as of now. We have Cameron Van Camp going against Nicolas Mata. And the best bet for me here is going to be the fight doesn't go to decision. And on Bovada, I believe they still have it around minus 170. You see a minus 175 on Betway. DraftKings sitting at with their a minus 225 there. But I think this fight is a good one to finish inside the distance. We have Nicolas Mata, who is a very dangerous striker, has a ton of power. And then he's been finished as well. I think he's been finished in all of his losses. He's been knocked out 3 times. He's been sub before. So Mata, this guy can absolutely be knocked out, and he can absolutely go out there and knock guys out. Cameron Van Camp on the flip side, he has a very good finish rate. I think it's like 85%, and he's been finished a lot as well. He's cutting down a weight class for the first time since 2018. So what is his chin going to look like? And another thing I don't like with Cameron Van Camp is the striking defense. His hands are very low. His chin's up in the air. He showed a 29% striking defense in his UFC debut. I think Nicolas Mata has a very good chance to knock out Cameron Van Camp. But on the flip side, Van Camp has a lot of power as well. He's going to be bigger. And I think Nicolas Mata is pretty chinny in his own right. So I think we kick the night off here with some violence. I think the fight doesn't go to decision is a good way to cover both sides here. I think somebody's getting served, and I think somebody's getting knocked out in this fight. So fight doesn't go. Like I said, on Bovada right now, it's like minus 170. I think that's a very good line. Minus 175 still on Betway. DraftKings minus 225. Not sure what the under 2.5 rounds is. Earlier in the week, it was like minus 135. I see minus 150 there, minus 180. Like the under 2.5, the fight doesn't go. I think violence is the way to go for this first fight of the night. I saying a flip a coin. Yeah, as far as like the money line standpoint goes, yeah, I agree. I think Cameron Van Camp is an interesting dog in the fact that he's going to be throwing more and doing more throughout the fight, and he's going to be bigger, but it can only take one here from Mata. So I'm staying away from it from a money line standpoint, but I don't hate people taking the shot on the dog here in Cameron Van Camp. It makes a lot of sense. Mata's just very, very inactive, but he hits like a truck. So I'll say Mata knockout, but the best bet for me is going to be that fight doesn't go. All right, moving on. We have David Baszler going against Tony Gravely here. And I think it's another violent spot. We have Baszler. He's finished all but one of his wins inside the distance. He has a 92% finish rate, and Gravely gets finished a ton. Tony Gravely's been finished in 6 of his 7 losses, 5 by submission, 1 by knockout. And what I like about Javid is he can go out there and he can knock guys out. He has power, and he can go out there and he can submit guys. Very slick grappler. So I think a Baszler inside the distance is absolutely on the table here. On the flip side, we have Tony Gravely, who this guy hits like an absolute truck. This guy's going out there and knocking guys down. 5 of 7 UFC fights of Tony Gravely's have finished inside the distance here. So I like the fight doesn't go as well. I think it covers both sides. I think if there's a finish, it more than likely is on the Javid side. But, Gravely hits very, very hard in his own right. We've seen that throughout his UFC career there. So, again, fight doesn't go. Minus 138. Bovada, again, has a very good line out there right now. It's minus 135 on Bovada. You see minus 145 on BetOnline. I think violence is a very, very good look in this fight, just how it's going to play out. We're going to have Gravely who's going to chuck bombs on the feet. We have Javid who's going to be live for the sub and the knockout at any point in the fight. Gravely gets finished a ton. Also, don't hate the Baszler inside the distance, plus 125, plus 140. I don't hate those, but give me the fight doesn't go to decision once again to kind of cover both sides there. Isn't Van Camp moving down in weight? Yes, he is. He's moving down in weight for the first time, and I think it's like 8 fights as well. Jordan Lake and Van Camp, yeah, don't hate it. But he could also get knocked out. We got Cole in the chat. What is up, Cole? We got Rob in the chat as well. All right, we'll keep moving on. We have Trey Ogden going against Danielzell, and a best bet for me is just going to be the Zellhuber money line. It just got hit before the show as well. So it was minus 260 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I did get Zellhuber earlier in the week at minus 245. So yeah, I did get hit just like a couple minutes ago. Yeah, but I would still, say he's a parlay piece at like minus 305. I think it's a really good matchup for him. And I don't really want to pick any props on this one because I could see Zellhuber submitting Trey Ogden. Zellhuber's a black belt in BJJ, as is Ogden, but Ogden has been submitted 3 times. I could see Zellhuber knocking out Trey Ogden, and I could also see Zellhuber winning decision. I think I more so lean towards the decision route, but I'm not playing the decision prop. It is plus 200, but like I said, I could also see a knockout or a sub here. Just give me the Zellhuber money line. I think it's a really bad matchup for Trey Ogden. Ogden, he showed in his UFC debut that, and it was weird because you take a look at this guy outside that fight, and his striking's pretty solid, but I mean, he was getting outstruck by Jordan Levitt. Newsflash, Danielzell is a much, much better striker than Jordan Levitt. On top of that, Ogden struggled to take down Jordan Levitt, who a gust of wind knocks that guy over. He wants to be on his back, and I think Ogden was like 1 for 4. So if you're struggling to take down Levitt, how easy is it going to be to take down Zellhuber? I think it's a tough matchup for Ogden. So I do like Zellhuber quite a bit. And as far as a best bet, I'm saying Zellhuber money line. I play it straight, potential parlay piece. Just no other props really stick out on this one. Steven agreeing with the parlay piece. Yeah, I think is a pretty good parlay piece this week. I think there are some solid parlay pieces this week, actually. So, and he's definitely one of them for sure. All right, we will move on to the next fight. We have Jillian Robertson going against Maria Agapova. So I think violence is a really good look here. I don't hate the fight. Doesn't get the decision at minus 175 here because we have a clear striker versus grappler matchup. Robertson being the grappler, Agapova being the striker. If Robertson's able to get this fight down to the mat, I think she finishes it shortly after. She's a black belt in BJJ, super dangerous. We've seen Agapova struggle with her takedown defense, her ground game. Agapova believes she's a white belt in BJJ. So Robertson's going to have a significant advantage on the mat. On the flip side, if Robertson's not able to take this fight down to the mat, she is going to get knocked out. Agapova is going to have a big, big advantage on the feet here. So I think the fight doesn't go to decision. You are overpaying for this for sure because it is a 125-pound women's fight. But, I mean, it just makes so much sense. Striker versus grappler, both fighters super dangerous. Both fighters can be finished. I'm personally on the Jillian Robertson side. I think she does go out there and submit Agapova. But like I said, if Robertson's not able to get her game going, she will get knocked out. Agapova is very good on the feet, and she's going to have a big, big striking advantage. So huge grappling advantage for Robertson, huge striking advantage for Agapova. Violence makes a ton of sense here. So I'll just go with the fight doesn't get the decision as well. Was kind of debating the minus 148 on the Robertson money line, but honestly, I don't know if I want to completely trust her. I think stylistically it's a very, very good matchup for her, but I don't know, just kind of have an iffy feeling about the money line on Robertson. I think violence is the way to go. Cover both sides. Both sides have paths to finish here. Buff was saying Swagapova. I like it. Jillian round 1 sub. Agapova decision only. Yeah, I saw the Agapova decision only. I think it was like minus 135. Robertson round 1 sub. Let's see what that is. Robertson round 1 sub is Robertson round 1 is plus 375 in general, but the sub is plus 550. So I think that is very much on the table. I think one takedown, like the fight could be over shortly after. She's going to have that big of an advantage. Steven saying not touching this. Yeah, I'm touching it, but from like a violence perspective. All right, we will move on to the next fight. We have Denise Gomez going against Lomae Boomi. I think this card's a phenomenal card. I have a ton of bets on this card. This is probably my least favorite, and by probably, I mean it absolutely is my least favorite fight on the card, and not saying it's a bad fight. I think it's a good fight, and I'm looking forward to it, but there are just so many other really, really good fights on this card that I'm not looking forward to this one as much. As far as a best bet, my best bet on this fight is not betting it at all. But as far as, having to give a best bet, it's going to be Luke Boomi to win by decision. I see it at minus 105. What's that? Bet 365. Minus 125 there on DraftKings. She has only one finish win in her entire career. This is a 115-pound fight. Both fighters very, very small. Luke Boomi, I think she's like 5 foot or 5'1". She's very good, a very good striker. I think she's going to have the striking advantage here. But, Gomez, she's a dog. She's going to be there the entire time. Gomez kind of gets better as the fight goes on. She throws a lot of volume as well. I think this fight could play out close, and I get why people are taking the shot on Gomez here and what should be a close fight, but clearly the better striker is Luke Boomi, and honestly, it's not really close. I've seen Gomez hurt and dropped a ton, so maybe Luke Boomi can drop her. I don't think she's going to knock her out, though, and even if I wanted to take a look at Luke Boomi by knockout, I would need at least plus 1,000 because she never does it, and you're only getting like plus 450. I think the decision for Luke Boomi is the most likely, but you will not catch me betting on this fight. Lomae as a parlay piece. Yeah, if you want a parlay, I'd probably wait. It looks like money's pouring in on Denise Gomez as we speak. Best bet of the card, one fight. What do you think? We'll talk about that real soon because I do have a very, very strong take on a fight in a second. We'll talk about that. Going to sprinkle the split decision. That's not a bad look, and I think we might have some lines on that split decision. I think that's a very good look. Split, they're probably all over it though. Split decision. Wow. Okay. It's plus 400. Yeah, the fight, I think this is the most favored fight to go the distance. It should be close. Split decision plus 400. There you go. Don't know if I'm going to bet that, but it's a good look for sure. Brady back into retirement. Yep. I believe so. I mean, I do have a bet on the Robertson Agapova fight, but I'm going violence there. I'm not touching a money line. But yeah, I will not be betting on Denise Gomez, Luke Boomi. But yeah, the split decision prop call, I like that call. All right, moving on. We have Luis Cosi going against Trevin Giles. And this is a clear violent spot to me because we have really both guys are very good finishers and both guys can be finished. So for me, it's going to be the fight doesn't go to decision. It's minus 163 there on Betway, minus 200 on DraftKings. Last time I checked on Bovada, it was like minus 170 on Bovada there. And then Bovada also had a minus 155 for a while. I think violence is the way to go here because it's a Luis Cosi fight. Luis Cosi, all of his wins come in the first round. Trevin Giles has been finished a ton. Trevin Giles has been finished in all of his losses. In their combined losses, they've all been inside the distance. Trevin Giles, he's been submitted a good amount of times. Trevin Giles, he's been knocked out a good amount of times. Luis Cosi is absolutely live to go in there and finish Trevin Giles in the very first round. On the flip side, if Cosi does not finish Giles in the first 2.5 minutes, he's going to gas out. Cosi goes in there like a madman, throwing everything into all of his shots. And we saw in his last fight against Sasha Plotnikov, when he was not able to finish Plotnikov, he had nothing left late in that first round. So I think it's Cosi early, Giles late, and I think Giles is even live for a first-round finish in his own right. Giles is going to be the better striker, the better grappler, and I can see Giles either catching Cosi on the feet, knocking him out. He hits super hard, or I can see him taking him down to the mat and submitting Cosi as well when he's tired. But either way, I think this fight does end inside the distance. I would caution anybody laying minus 200 or so on Trevin Giles just because that's not something you want to do. This guy has some of the worst fight IQ you'll ever see. It's very frustrating to bet on this guy. Why not just take violence? Minus 200, minus 163. Bovada hanging that minus 170. I think the fight doesn't go to decision is the way to go, and it is one of my favorite spots of the week. All right. What's up, Steven? Saying all my bets are already locked in. Just watching to see if you can talk me out of anything. Well, let's see what we agree and line up on here. All right. Let's see here. All righty. Eddie's saying Bill Algie lock, Lomae inside the distance, plus Aspen Ladd distance parlay. Bill Algie lock. I don't know. I'm picking Bill Algie as well, but I don't know if I consider him a lock there. All righty, we'll keep moving on. We have the 1-800 Gambler fight of the week. We have Aspen Ladd going against Sarah McMahon. This is a fight that I do not have a bet on, but there is a spot that kind of sticks out. From a money line standpoint, it's Sarah McMahon here. I think Sarah McMahon is almost certainly going to win the first round, and I think she has a very good chance to win the second round. The problem with Sarah McMahon is she is almost 42 years old. Her gas tank is very questionable. We've seen her lose as the fight goes on, get caught in a submission, end up in a bad spot and get finished late in the fight. And that could happen here. But yeah, from a money line perspective, it's Sarah McMahon for me, but I don't think I'm going to touch this fight. She's 42. Her gas tank's not the best. And if Aspen Ladd does get on top of Sarah McMahon, the fight could be over, especially if McMahon is tired from going out there and wrestling hard throughout the duration of the fight. And Aspen Ladd, she does one thing good and one thing only, really, and it is that grounded pound. If she can get on top of Sarah McMahon late, she can finish the fight. So I guess from a money line standpoint, it's dog or pass with McMahon, but I don't think I'm going to quite get there. A prop that I do like and I'm very tempted on sprinkling, and I know some people are on it already, it's Aspen Ladd to win in round 3. I think if Aspen Ladd wins the fight, it is going to be late second, third round. Once Sarah McMahon has nothing left in the tank, if Aspen Ladd can get on top late in the fight in that third round, I think she could finish it. But this is indeed a 1-800 Gambler fight, a fight that I will not be touching. If anything, it's a quarter unit sprinkle on that Ladd round 3, but that is about it. Andy Mush saying McMahon sub decision. Yeah, I wonder what that line is because she's not knocking out Aspen Ladd. I'm leaning more decision McMahon personally. McMahon by decision, like plus 150. You're not getting much more than the money line, honestly. But yeah, I think it's probably decision. Ladd finish only. She has not been looking really good off of late. Yeah, I was also looking at the finish only, but they're all over it. I think I saw it at like minus 260, something crazy like that. Ladd finish only minus 240. Makes a lot of sense, but you're just paying a lot for it. Just probably not worth touching that minus 240 there. All right, move on to the next fight. We have Damon Jackson going against Pat Sabatini, and it's another fight where I'm picking Sabatini, but I think it could play out close. I think both these guys are very similar. From a betting perspective, not a ton sticks out, honestly. Not a ton of props stick out. I think if anything, I might just take a shot on this under 2.5 rounds. It's kind of contrarian, and I think a lot of people are expecting this fight to go the distance, but we have a killer be killed fighter in Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson's been finished in all of his losses. In Damon Jackson's last 14 fights, 12 of those 14 have finished inside the distance. So at plus 205, it's a very big price tag there for an under in a fight where Sabatini could absolutely go out there and hurt Damon Jackson on the feet. We've seen Jackson knocked out 3 times. Sabatini has a ton of power. Sabatini got a knockdown in his debut. Sabatini also hurt his last opponent very, very bad, almost finished him. Would it shock me if Sabatini hurt Jackson on the feet? No, it wouldn't. On the flip side, there's going to be a lot of grappling. Both guys are very dangerous grapplers. It would not shock me if either guy got locked up in a submission. So kind of contrarian here, but if anything, it's that plus 205 under, just because Damon Jackson is a killer be killed fighter who has been finishing all his losses. And I think this is going to be a super heavy, fast-paced fight with a lot of opportunities to finish on either side. So plus 205, under 2.5 rounds with the contrarian take there. Jordan saying Sabatini easy. Yeah, a lot of people are on Sabatini, but that line is closing a bit. If you like Sabatini, I would recommend waiting a little bit. We see Sabatini now at minus 177, and he opened up minus 225. So money is coming on the Damon Jackson side. Tim saying, I think Sabatini money line is the play here. Yeah, not for me personally. I'm picking him to win. If the line like closes a lot more, maybe I'll consider it. But I do think this fight plays out fairly close, honestly, unless there is a finish. And if there's a finish, I do lean towards Sabatini getting that finish. But yeah, give me that under 2.5 rounds at plus 205, if anything. All right, next we have Anthony Hernandez going against Marc-Andre Barrio. This is a tricky one because originally I really liked Anthony Hernandez, but after looking into the fight, I'm a little bit. I still think he wins, but I don't. I think it's gonna be a little bit closer than I originally thought, and that's because Marc-Andre Barrio, he can be taken down. He does struggle with the takedown defense, but his get-up game's elite. It's very good, very hard to hold down. But I kind of see it playing out as Hernandez is going to be able to go out there and get takedowns and get a lot of takedowns, and he has the gas tank to do so. I think on the feet, it's pretty close. I actually favor Marc-Andre Barrio on the feet. I love the volume of Barrio. He's gonna have the power advantage as well. But I just think Fluff is going to come in here with the game plan of getting this fight down to the mat, being relentless with it, being nonstop with the wrestling, and just kind of grinding a decision. But in terms of a best bet here, I do not have a bet on this fight, but a best bet would probably have to be the Hernandez money line. And it kind of sucks because it has been getting hit as of late. He was all the way up to like minus 152. I think yesterday or the day before, and now he is back to minus 178. So some money is coming in on Fluffy Hernandez. I will pick him to win, and I will say he's my best bet, but I do not have a bet on this fight, one that I'm kind of staying away from. Wouldn't really touch the overs, wouldn't touch the unders, no props really sticking out. I'll just say Hernandez money line. I think he has a good chance to win this fight with the right game plan, and I do expect him to use that right game plan. Okay, next we have Rodrigo Nascimento going against Tanner Boser. And another spot where I do like violence. BetOnline is sitting at minus 205 if the fight doesn't go to decision. Kind of like the Robertson-Agapova fight where we have a striker versus a grappler. The striker obviously being Tanner Boser. The grappler being Rodrigo Nascimento. On the feet, Tanner Boser is going to have a significant advantage. I mean, Nascimento was getting destroyed by Alain Badeau. Let me repeat that. Nascimento was getting destroyed in round one against Alain Badeau. I mean, Tanner Boser can absolutely go out there and knock out Nascimento in this fight. No question about that. On the flip side, if Nascimento gets on top of Boser, the fight could be over shortly after. Nascimento, good grounded pound, black belt in BJJ. We've seen Tanner Boser taken down, stuck off his back. So I think it works out perfectly for a violent spot here. If Boser's able to keep the fight standing, he's going to knock this guy out. And if Nascimento gets the fight down to the mat, there's a very good chance he gets a sub here. Nascimento's never been to decision, win or loss. Nascimento's never been over 2.5 rounds. Nascimento's never even been to the third round. I don't think he's ever even been over 1.5 rounds, maybe once. But this is a guy that is losing inside the distance and he's winning inside the distance. He's a killer be killed fighter. So yeah, give me the fight doesn't go here. Minus 205, striker versus grappler matchup. Both guys dangerous. Both guys can be finished. I like it. I like it. I like that you don't bet every fight. Yeah, there's some fights you just got to stay away from. I know it's nothing wrong with going out there and like putting in a couple like dollars on every fight, like putting a couple bucks on like the McMahon fight. But yeah, you do not have to bet every fight, and some people don't really understand that. But all right, so we'll keep moving on here. We have Joe Pyfer going against Alan Amidovsky. And I probably sound like a broken record at this point, and that's because, man, this is a violent card. This is a very, very violent card, and give me the under 1.5. And I typically don't play under 1.5 that often, and I probably should more because I like the under 1.5 in the Kudalaba fight, didn't play it. I like the under 1.5 in the Almeida fight, didn't play it. I like the under 1.5 in the Benitez fight a couple of weeks ago, didn't play it. I like the under 1.5 in the McKinney fight, I didn't play it. I probably should be playing these, although they are juiced, but they're juiced for a freaking reason. Alan Amidovsky got finished in around a minute in his last fight. He got finished in like 20 seconds against John Phillips. I think Pyfer's going to do it every once here. I think he can take down Amidovsky, who Amidovsky has a 0% takedown defense. He has stuffed no takedowns in the UFC, 0 for 6. Pyfer's going to be the much better grappler. Amidovsky has nothing off his back. On the flip side, if Amidovsky does win, it's probably in the first round. It's probably by knockout. He does hit very, very hard. So I think Pyfer wins this fight. I think Pyfer is a solid parlay piece against Amidovsky. I think Pyfer could knock out Amidovsky in the first round, or I think he can just simply take him down and submit him. So give me the under 1.5, minus 190, minus 188, minus 195. It has been hit throughout the week, but rightfully so. I think this fight does finish fairly quickly as well. If you like Amidovsky round one knockout was like plus 2,500 earlier in the week on BetOnline. I think it's been hit a little bit, but that's literally how he wins. Pyfer Probably for inside the distance a little bit too chalky. I think it's like minus 240, something like that. Give me the under 1.5. I think this fight does finish within 7.5 minutes. If it didn't, I'd be pretty surprised. What's up, Victor? How you doing? Thank you for stopping in here. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We have Andre Fili going against Bill Algie. And I do like the over. I've been talking a lot about violence throughout this video, but I actually like the over here. Both guys are very, very tough, especially Bill Algie. Bill Algie has that dog in him. He has been submitted quite a few times, but those submission losses were a while ago. This guy's very tough, very hard to knock out. He's going to be there for 15 minutes. And Fili's a very tough guy in his own right. I think this fight does go over. I think it does go to decision. The over 2.5, minus 225 around there, minus 230. I saw minus 215 out there as well. Fight goes decision, minus 200. I also don't mind it. I think this fight does go over. Close fight. In terms of picking a winner, I'll probably go Algie, but not really taking a look at this from a money line perspective. I think the overs are the way to go in this one. Both guys super tough. Both guys not the best finishers in the world. Going the opposite of violence in this one here. I don't like doing unders that much. Always takes years off your life. Unders take years. Imagine betting an over takes years off my life. Imagine rooting for nothing to happen, and every time a punch lands, you have to look away. I think it's the opposite for me personally. I think overs take years off my life, especially when you're betting overs on fights like, for example, the next one, Chidi and Jaquani, Gregory Rodriguez. Imagine betting an over on that fight. Just couldn't be me. Jordan like and Fili here. Yeah, I'm going Algie, but just no confidence in that really. All right, we'll move on to the co-main event. We have Chidi and Jaquani going against Gregory Rodriguez. Obviously violence, obviously. But there is a line that does stick out. So I'm not going to give the fight doesn't go. Obviously, I think it's a good look, good parlay piece at this point. There is a line that sticks out. So this makes no sense to me. Chidi and Jaquani is minus 128 on the money line. Minus 128 on Bet Online, the same book. They have the scorecards equals new action for Chidi at plus 155. So he's a favorite on the money line, but the finish only is plus money and very big plus money. I feel like this fight should be a pick'em. I feel like this line should be a pick'em. I feel like there's a 50-50 chance, either guy's getting knocked out here. Both guys are super, super dangerous. Chidi and Jaquani especially has been going out there and finishing guys early. Finished Dusko Todorovic in the first round. He went out there and finished Marc-Andre Barrio, who never gets knocked out in like 10 seconds. Rodriguez, a ton of power in his own right. Somebody's getting served here, and probably in the very first round. Kind of like the Kudalaba Johnny Walker fight. Somebody's getting finished, and somebody's getting finished in the first round. I kind of feel the same way here. Somebody's going to get finished. So I feel like this should be literally minus 110. I feel like Chidi and Jaquani has just as good of a chance to finish Rodriguez than Rodriguez has to finish Chidi and Jaquani. So I think somebody's getting finished here. Give me the plus 155 rather than the money line of Chidi. I don't see this going the distance. I see somebody getting knocked out. We've seen Rodriguez knocked out before. Rodriguez got knocked out by Jordan Williams on the Contender Series. I can tell you right now, Chidi and Jaquani hits much harder than one Jordan Williams. Jordan saying, you'll be sweating if you bet the over here. You will be sweating indeed. Indeed. Chidi KO, Rodriguez is going to try to stand and bang. Yeah. And, if people are expecting Rodriguez to wrestle, you're going to have a very bad time. It's just not something he really wants to do. He wants to stand and bang. I really like Rodriguez here, but I agree it should be a pick'em. Yeah, I think it should be a pick'em. And there has been a lot of money coming in on the Chidi side because Chidi was like a slight dog earlier in the week, but the line is completely flipped. Unders all the way for this one. I could not agree more. Okay, we will move on to the main event. Here we have Song Yadong going against Cory Sandhagen. And I know Song Yadong is the dog of the week, it looks like. I'm personally on the Sandhagen side, but I don't think I'm going to touch the money line. I do like the overs here. So both DraftKings and Bovada made a big mistake this week. So they put the over under. They have like the alternative overs, right? And they had the over 1.5 at minus 300, both DraftKings and Bovada. And I think there was another book that did it as well, but hopefully people took advantage of that. At this point, I'll still go with these unders or these overs. I think both guys are very durable. If there is a finish in this fight, maybe it is Song knocking out Sandhagen, but Sandhagen, he's never been knocked out. I think he's been dropped maybe once in the UFC. super, super tough. Both guys have very, very good chins. I think it's going to be a back and forth war throughout 25 minutes. I do see this going to decision. So if I had to pick a bet, it's going to be the overs, but they have been hit. They have been hit pretty hard throughout the last couple days. Looks like the over 1.5 now minus 450 around there. The over 2.5 minus 270. Over 3.5 minus 200. Over 4.5 minus 170. So it is pretty chalky, but I think this fight does go to decision more often than not. And I also don't mind the Sandhagen money line, depending, how low it gets. If it gets, any lower than this, I might take a look. I think he was like, I think this is the lowest it's been all week. Minus 180 for Cory Sandhagen. If he gets to like minus 160, I might take a look there. But if anything, it's the overs in this fight. I think both guys are super tough. JBO saying the biggest coin flip fight. You talking about the main event, or are you talking about the Chidi fight? Talking about Yaron Rodriguez. Rodriguez looks way over 30. Yeah, when I first saw his age, he was like 27. And I was like, no way. Might look around for a song round 1 KO. Sandhagen has been in some wars in his last few fights. He absolutely has been in some wars there. But guys, I'm going to head out. Thank you so much for watching on a Thursday. Thank you all for tuning in live. And then thank you all for watching after the upload. I know to kind of a short notice thing here, but I will not be available Friday night. I will not be available Saturday. So I did want to get this out here rather than not doing it at all. My live stream Friday is going to be right after the weigh-in, so plan on that being around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern time in the afternoon, right after those weigh-ins, 1, 2, 3, around there. So make sure you are subscribed to not miss out on that. Other than that, the prediction video is out. The DraftKings video is out. I'll be getting my betting breakdown video out tomorrow as well. So yeah, content is going to be released, fairly early this week. I have all my bets in besides 3 bets. I'm looking at 3 more, and then I'll have those in soon. But yeah, really liking this card from a betting perspective. I think there's going to be a lot of violence as well. And hopefully it's a good week there. So leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. And best of luck for UFC Vegas 60. Cory Sandhagen, Song Yadong. See you guys later.